All right. Good evening, everyone. Who we got here? We got Blame Tag. Hey, hey. Hybrid says, how many managers have left and are planning to leave in 2 weeks at everybody else's stores? Yay. Hello, Hero. Mel, welcome. What's up, Mad Dog? So we're going to chill here for just a second. Irish, say hello.
Hello, everyone. Steve, you're coming across slightly distorted on the audio just now. That just could be my end, but just maybe ask the chat.
Do I sound okay? Can you hear me? Earth to Paco. Earth to Paco. Okay. Hero says we're both fine. It might just be on your end.
Oh, okay.
So, welcome to the Ho-Ho-Humbug Office Party, presented by the Retail Warzone. Of course I sound hoarse. I had strep throat. We'll get into that in just a minute. Okay. So it might have been some sort of drag with the streams. I don't know. It's going to be what it's going to be. You know, I've got my little thumbnail for tonight underneath my less swollen mug with a cast of characters. We've got Jack Skellington, Gene Simmons, Oogie Boogie, Brandon Lee as the Crow, Flame Tag. What a motley crew. And the Christmas tree's on fire, in case you didn't notice. What's up? Erica runs the Raiders. So here we are. This is going to be the last one for the year. Like I said on social media, well, actually on Substack, we will return in January. And I didn't tell you this yet, Irish. The first order of business in January is LinkedIn.
Yeah, I seen that in the email.
Yeah, Bootlicker Paradise. So we're going to have some fun with that one. And, you know, given today is what? Is today the 20th? It gives us plenty of time to recharge and whatnot. And but we'll come out guns a-blazing on that one. I've been meaning to get around to them for a while and just have not. So, having said that, Irish, what you got going on your side of the world? Care to
Well,
share?
it's been an eventful week for me so far, and it's only Wednesday. So yourself and Blame Tag are somewhat familiar with this story, but on Monday, my store, I ended up literally shoveling shit for the day because we had a sewage backup where the last store on the street and the whole street decided, well, you can imagine it was a volcano of absolute shit that leaked into our store and pretty much destroyed some of the fucking downstairs. And yeah, it was not good. Like I did question my employment status at the
So
time.
what you're saying? It was like most female bathrooms, public restrooms.
Yeah, there were like our restrooms have been closed since COVID, basically. So we just turned them into storerooms, as you do. I've never been in a place that had an empty bathroom that no one used that didn't turn into a storeroom. So that's what it was. Um, and it just fucking backed up. We didn't notice because no one used the damn things until it was like on the actual shop floor and you
Oh,
couldn't
that's what I was
ignore
going
it.
to ask you. So did you lose any merchandise?
No, it never got beyond like ankle deep, so it not really. But I mean, it destroyed like part of the floor and obviously any um shelving and stuff like that, that's all fucked. So you're looking at a couple of grand, like, at least. But it's cleaned up now. We just have to assess the damage. With anything with water, you have to wait until a week or two to see how bad it'll be. But yeah, not a fun start to the week. And of course, then you have all the normal Christmas shit on top of that, you know.
Hero
So
asked if you were
yeah.
the poor soul who found it. Explain to her the phone call.
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was at the bank, and one of my members of staff rang me, and I thought that they were joking. So I basically just hung up with them and said, "Ah, fuck off, don't be annoying." You know, because we're always playing with each other, we're playing pranks or whatever else, like you know. And I just thought, like, you got to do better than that to get me. No way, you know. I'm not leaving this bank queue up in here for 30 minutes already, you know. I got back to the store, and it's fucking pandemonium. You know, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, literally.
So yeah, it was bad. Like, and like it's not even the first time I've had to deal with that at retail. It's been maybe 20 years since I had to do that. But oh my God, like the guys that actually do that for a living, you know, the guys that go and clear drains, they don't get paid. I don't know what they get paid. It's not enough. It's not enough. I couldn't. I mean, I was pretty much in a biohazard suit, like, and I was heaving, you know,
I mean,
like
I just have this
these.
image of
Oh.
you and like waiters, just walking through
Well,
like,
actually, I'll. It's all on CCTV. I'll send you some. Obviously, it's not for publication, but yeah,
yeah.
I'll send you some fucking. Oh my God, it was fucking
So
around.
did you guys have to close?
Yeah, yeah, immediately because it's
How,
a biohazard, like
how many
straight
days
away.
did you stay shut down? Just one?
1.5. We opened the following, say, the following afternoon.
Well, I
So
mean, it's not like it was your fault, so
no,
there's
but you know
that.
what the killer is, right? I was ahead. I was 5% ahead in December. Right? You
Oh
know,
shit.
and right, but this is the cruel thing about retail. In 6 months' time, when they're running the numbers and they're not going to that, there's no there's no narrative to those numbers. It'll just be like, you know, he was flat or marginally down or whatever else. You know, that's the cruel thing about it. Like, no one remembers. Oh yeah, well, you know, you were closed for a day and a half because of you're dealing with literal shit. So.
Hybrid just asked, wait, you get to close for biohazards?
Well, I mean, on that scale, Jesus, yeah. I mean, oh my
Here, if
God.
this was a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree or really most places, it'd be like, oh, put signs up. We're gonna send somebody back there to shovel the shit away. We staying open.
But you know what? In typical like no, it wasn't funny at the time, but in typical form, like I had like maybe 3, 4 staff running around like with keys, opening shit, closing shit, like getting like just blocking off areas, all this sort of stuff. And you still had customers that were trying to push past like hastily put together blockades that they put up in front of doors and stuff like that. Try to push past this stuff and like into a room where this was going on, and there's like 2 or 3 people in there like heaving, trying to fucking sweep it back, and they're trying to shop. I was like, have you no awareness at all? Just like look around you, look down. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah, still in that environment, people just and then of course the rest of the day, like because it's when we did close, got everyone out, we closed. We're still inside working. You could be seen from the street, so you have loads of people like banging on the windows, like like it's
Oh
fucking,
yeah.
you know, because it's a normal. You normally we will be open. Of course, I've got signs on the windows. Like, do they fuck read them?
Well,
Oh my God.
yeah, signs. So like 2 Sundays ago, I provided the quote unquote DJing for a buddy of mine's wedding. And where I was stationed with my gear was the actual entrance door to the establishment. They took and made a big sign to put out front in front of the door that said they were closed for a wedding. Do you think that stopped anybody? Fuck no.
No, not at all.
I mean, it's like I just don't understand it. That's why I had mentioned the blame tag about redoing the song signs because they refuse to read. And I mean, we know this. I mean, I think I told the story before that there were times that Hero and I were going to work on a Sunday at Jesus's craft store back when it was quietly allowed. And we would sit in the parking lot and watch people walk up to the door and literally put their face up against the door and be looking in like this. And their face was literally where it says closed on Sundays.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, it's amazing to me how people can't read signs. The amount of people that come into the store I work at that ask where things are. And every aisle has a sign above it that says 9 times out of 10 the things they're looking for, where they're at. Nope. You know, I know there was that movie, Don't Look Up. They got
Oh yeah, that was a good movie. Yeah.
they got the premise of that all wrong. Don't look up means don't read the signs.
Yeah, but it is it's like it's concerning because like the same people that are doing that are in traffic. You know, you're like Jesus Christ, they're behind the wheel. You know, uh, but it. I mean, nothing about that surprised me. Like, I mean, I was still getting like, okay, fair enough. I didn't advertise the fact of what I was doing, but I was still getting calls from random like things. Other stores, other employees, whatever. And I'm telling them like, not today, not now. I'm quite literally, doing this job, and they were like, "Oh, that's terrible. That sounds like a really bad day. But just one thing. Would you be able to?" It's like, "No, did you not listen to what I just said? Not today."
Wow.
It's like when people have this tunnel vision that like you're the go-to guy for whatever the case may be, and they like when you're busy, they can't function. Well, it depends on obviously the person, but there's a lot of people like that just they don't know what to do if you don't provide them with the immediate relief that they're looking for. Like it's fucking crazy, but
We got
oh.
some choice stuff in the chat here. Blame Tag says we had a section of our store flood a few years ago due to a sprinkler malfunction, and customers came right to the cordon and told the worker manning it to go into the water and get shit for them. And then,
Oh.
let's see. No TM lends you arrived precisely when you were intended. There's no late here. There's just glad you made it. Mad Dog says we lose power all the time, and people will say, "Why are you closed? Just turn the power back on. Why is it off? When is it going to come back on?" I don't know. I don't work for the power company. And then Blaine Tag also says, "I think I told you, Steve, we had a fire alarm with all the staff standing outside and fire trucks in the front and customers still trying to get in for the Christmas tree sale." Yeah, and you sent me pictures of that. It was
Yeah.
great. Yes, TM Lens, you are a wizard. Um, and the hero just reminded me, remember when Jesus's craft store flooded and people would not leave? Yeah, that was like bad weather. I mean, like, and flood, you know, um,
Mm.
and people just wouldn't leave. I mean, and it wasn't like they were, you know, scared to leave because of the flood. It was, oh no, we're not, we're going to continue shopping. I don't understand. I mean,
Yeah, it's crazy.
and those are the same people who are going to be like, "Oh, you poor thing! I can't believe they made you work on Christmas." Well, why the fuck are you in here?
Yeah, it is funny. It's just, but it just kind of. I mean, it was the perfect cap off to the year. Like, it just, it was a good analogy for how the rest of the year went for me. But it was
Yeah,
just, it's it was just, I just, it was kind of funny. It was like, the guys I was working with, they were fantastic. I mean, none of them get paid enough to even help in that situation. They, but they were great, and it was it was just, it's mostly like the team is fantastic. We spoke about this from the very beginning. Like, the team is great, but outside of that bubble, you have like the corporate, that don't get it, that will ring you anyway and go,
yeah.
"Oh, you're up to your neck in shit. Oh, just one thing. Would you just send it?" And
No, I
then you have
can.
customers on the outside banging on the windows, going like, "Oh, I just want one thing. I can see it. It's right there." And
Eh,
I'm literally in a, like, I am actually in a mask. Like, I've got one of those, like, the things with respirators. Like, I mean, does it look like I'm gonna be of any use to you right now? Do you really want to come in here? Jesus.
wow. TM Lynn says we had an ice storm several years ago. People came in complaining that the roads weren't safe to drive on. We're a thrift store. There's nothing we have that you need that much. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, and you're right there. Especially, we had a situation when I worked for a Guitar Center where we had this huge ice storm in Atlanta, and we had to go to work. And I'm like, um, we don't sell anything there that you need. A musician might think you need it, but there's nothing we sold in that building that was detrimental to you if you did not get it. Okay, it actually saved you some money.
Mhm.
And I'll never forget, we had one dude who called in and said he couldn't make it, and the manager on duty told him you need to be here, and dude totaled his fucking truck on the way to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and it's that whole corporate thing. Um, I want to talk a minute about the corporate thing, and the strep throat. You know, um, Hero had to knock some sense into me. So, um, basically, long story short, I wound up with strep throat starting about Wednesday of last week. I haven't had strep throat in 23 years. Thought I outgrew it. Um, I don't get sick that often. When I had COVID, it wasn't that bad. Um, I usually get like some kind of crud a couple times a year. Well, here comes a strep and reminded me real fast that if there's one thing that can take me down and put me out, that's it. So I wound up, Saturday and Sunday being really, really bad shape. Sunday, my throat closed up early in the morning and I couldn't breathe. You're not as tough as you think you are when you can't breathe. However, yes, I do still have my tonsils, Erica. However, by the end of Sunday, the antibiotics had kicked in, and I felt functional. And I told Hero, I said, you know what? I think I can go to work tomorrow. And she's like, the fuck you are. And I started arguing. And she's like, there's this podcast that talks about how your health is more important than work. You may have heard of it. It's called the Retail War Zone. Maybe you ought to check that out. Checkmate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but it goes back to the whole thing. We're programmed that way, especially if you've been in management for any amount of time. And it's one of those things where she was right. Blame Tag and I had a conversation briefly this morning about our significant others, which prompted me to make a post that Mrs. Blame Tag and Hero are the real MVPs, and there's a reason why women typically outlive men, and a lot of us would be lost without them. So props to Hero for knocking the manager out of my head there for a minute, because I wound up sleeping for 12 hours, which was the most sleep I had in a week. And there, once again, she was right. I was wrong. She's smart. I'm stupid. That kind of thing. So, yeah. Let's see. Mad Dog says, a few years ago, we had the snowstorm. Kirk expected me to get to work at the stunt. I took video showing him I couldn't get there, and he was like, well, just try anyway. Oh, that's nice. Nice. Yeah, Hero said, yeah, I was functional, but I still had a fever. Blame Tag says, razors, I had mine removed. I brag all the time. The doctor said I had the biggest tonsils he'd ever seen. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. What is that? It's not the size of the boat, but the motion of the ocean. I don't even know how that would correspond there. But we'll just leave it at that. TM Lynn says our significant others are generally correct. Irish, would you concur?
Yes, I'm not going to disagree there.
And then he followed up with, and when they're not, they are.
But my wife saw that post, by the way.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she showed it to me and she was like, see, where's my credit?
Oh, oh, I'm sorry,
no,
Irish.
she was that wasn't a criticism of you. She was like, you got to start spouting off.
Well, I mean,
she's right.
I mean, look,
she puts my place too.
well, and having the good wives out there, okay, and that's one thing. And one thing I realized in the business that I'm in now is that it seems to me that the older men who complain about everything under the sun, I mean, if you want to say boomer or whatever it is, they come into the store and they're completely lost. I'm convinced that those folks would not have survived as long as they did if they didn't have their wife at home. And, and they come from a time where it was very 50s, leave it to Beaver kind of docile, wife at home. that took all sorts of shit. But those women keep those dudes afloat because without them, they can't survive. Because when you see a man come into a grocery store without his wife that doesn't, you know, they're completely lost in the grocery store. They do not know how to shop for food. And if something happens to their wife, they're probably going to go hungry. And Blame Tag says that's ageism. Irish, ban him.
Yeah, that's a little reference to Reddit earlier on. Unfortunately, someone picked a fight with Blame Tag,
That
who
that doesn't end
uh,
well.
on a sub that he mods. That didn't end well.
Wow, that's such a strange place. TM Lynn says they 100% wouldn't. I was at the grocery store this afternoon and an old dude just stopped constantly, and that was with his wife. Look, man, they are lost. I have never seen somebody stand in front of 12 feet of milk and make it like a career choice. I mean, I have watched these dudes, and can you tell me what the difference between this 2% and this 2% is? The brand, and the price. You know, although on the younger end of the spectrum, I had an individual come in and ask me, hands me a gallon, is this whole milk? Guess what it said right on the label? Whole milk. And this person, this was not somebody who couldn't read. So don't, no, this was just like oblivious to all designations of anything. Probably threw her that there was no kale in the ingredients.
Yeah, I think when we have another Misfits kind of episode, we should go through some of the dumbest shit customers have ever said. But that was one of the threads. I think that was the thread that
Oh,
Blame Tag was on
we
there
can do that
after.
now. This is a free for all. We won't
Well,
go.
true. Yeah,
I mean,
there's no script
hey,
here. Yeah.
because I hear some dumb shit. We all do. I mean, still the thing that kills me the most is having somebody literally standing next to the item they're asking you where it's at. That's probably the most infuriating to me. And
Mm-hmm.
then the everybody talks about, oh, if it doesn't scan it must be free. Well, what's worse is, oh, well, if it was a snake it would have bit me. Yeah, and you would have died. you know. Blame Tag says, yeah, I had a dude whose wife sent him to buy a partial kind of frying pan, and he had no fucking clue what he was looking for and couldn't describe it in a way that helped me figure it out.
You know what? That's so true. Like I've always worked in textiles and clothing. Like, and you sometimes you get phone calls from customers. And I was in your store like 3 maybe 4 months ago. There was this shirt that had like buttons. Have you still got that?
Oh yeah.
It's like, what the like I'm gonna need a little more help here. Like, like, and then of course like I learned pretty quick just to go, just sold the last one this morning. Sorry, can't help you.
Oh,
But
oh.
it's just you still get these dumbass questions. Like,
Here's a good one. Hero says, what kind of cow does this almond milk come from?
Jesus Christ.
Look,
Oh,
look. What people want to do with their life is fine with me. I don't smoke pot or anything like that. If you do, hey, God love you, do you? But I'm convinced that cashew milk, soy milk, almond milk, anything that doesn't come from a cow, originated from a couple of stoners over like a pizza, saying, "Hey, dude, I bet we can make milk out of that." Guaranteed.
yeah. Yeah. I don't even think there's like, yeah. It can be painful sometimes. Some of the shit they come out with, like, but yeah. I don't know, man. Like
Oh,
the.
hold up. I hate to interrupt, and I didn't know this.
Well,
Um, that was a coworker who asked what kind of cow almond milk comes from. Continue, Irish.
I don't know, man. Like, I mean, look, just today, I had a customer after close banging on the fucking window when I was about to go home. Um, I opened the door. The usual question: Are you open? What does it fucking look like? I had to try and entertain him. And then he proceeds to tell me that he was in the store 2 days ago and made a donation. Now, for those that don't remember, I work in a thrift store. Um, and he said, can he have the bag back? Not the contents of the bag, but the actual bag he brought the stuff in. Now, if you've ever even been in a thrift store, you will understand how ridiculous a question that is on Christmas week. You want me to find some generic bag in perhaps 300 to 600 bags, like literally maybe 5 tons of stuff. You want me to find something from 2 days ago with the description of, oh, I brought it in a bag. How else do you think it gets in? Everyone brings it in a fucking, oh my God. So, and I have to try and pretend to be nice to this guy. Go, oh yeah, let me just have a quick look, and they go back out. Sorry, gone. But it's that's just everyday stuff. Or you get people bring stuff up to the checkout. How much is this? What does it say on the label? And you try to remember not to snap at them sometimes. But it's sometimes it's the repetitive ones that you're just like, how many times am I gonna have to hear this? Like open your
Wow.
eyes.
I have to say that Hybrid may have won the entire chat. Did you see
Oh,
this comment? Hybrid says his
uh,
favorite thing at Kroger was making new employees shake all the salad dressing at night so it wouldn't go bad.
I like that.
Wow. Oh, wait till I
Oh,
go. Wait till I go back to work. Mm.
I like that.
That is
Oh my
that
God.
that or one thing I've seen happen to very green, very new, never first job kind of thing. Hey man, make sure you rotate those paper towels.
Oh yeah, make sure they don't go off.
Yeah, make
Sell
sure.
by date.
Yeah, and I mean just some of the hazing that goes on that is kind of harmless. It Some of these dudes wind up, absolutely scarred for life. There's no doubt, no doubt. Um,
Well,
TM,
though that's actually a good metric though, because the people that find that a bit of fun, they're going to be okay. It's the guys that get frustrated and can't take it that they don't last.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and there's a difference between you know harmless ribbing and then bullying. And that's something that even myself, being older, coming from a really different background, and Iris, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
Mm.
There were things that flew when we were younger that sure as fuck wouldn't fly today. And you
Yeah.
have to be careful because sometimes you revert back to that instinct, and then you have to stop yourself and realize, wait a minute, this is 2023. I can't do that. you know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And to be clear, I would stay on the kind of harmless fun side of things. But some people just get frustrated if you start laughing when they start rotating the paper towels. If they get very frustrated at that, it's like, oh shit, you need
Oh
to
yeah.
lighten up. You need to lighten up, man. You're not going to last here if you don't.
Oh, this is a good one. I really hope he's not trolling because he's a master troll. But Blame Tag says, I worked at a bowling alley concession stand and they'd say, go get me a bucket of steam.
Oh God. Yeah.
And the hero says, I get asked over a dozen times a day. This guacamole says hot. Is the other one mild? Nope, they're both hot. Sorry. And TM Lynn says, a diabetic, almond milk is a game changer. Actual milk has way too much sugar. That I understand. I've never tried almond milk, and I don't drink a whole lot of milk. Um, I like cashews, and there's cashew milk, and I'm scared to try it. Plus, too, that shit is so fucking expensive, man. Jesus Lord.
Cashews are crazy expensive. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean even the almond milk is expensive. I mean you're paying $4.38 for not even a gallon. It's insane. Mel says when I worked on automotive, the techs actually convinced a new guy he had to put brake fluid in a car, and he was rattled that he couldn't find it. Wow. Um, Speaking of, has everybody seen the meme about the the customer going in and says my car is making a noise, and somebody had zip tied a harmonica to the bottom of the car? I saw that, and I had never seen that before, and I almost peed myself. That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
That's a harmless one to do. I like
Yeah,
that.
but
I
can
like
you imagine? I mean, you pull the mechanics. You're pulling in. Yeah, my car's making this terrible noise, and they put it up on the jack and the ramp. They're like, And then they just start snickering because somebody has put a damn harmonica on, it's like tie wrapped it at the bottom of your car. That's hilarious. Oh, blinker fluid, not brake fluid. Okay, that makes better sense. Hybrid says generational retail podcast, different perspectives working in retail from different ages. Shit, at this point, I feel like I've worked them all. So what do y'all know? um, Tim Lynn says I used to drink a gallon of milk in under a week. Good Wisconsin boy. Yeah, but y'all have great cheese. By the way, I might be wrong. Culver's originated in Wisconsin. Is that correct? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, Hero's like back in my day. Um, yep. Okay. So, we have we have several Culvers here, and I just want to give a shout out to MLMs, for you Wisconsians or whatever you call yourselves. That's one of the best damn burgers on the face of the planet. And it actually is my number 2 favorite burger out of anywhere I've ever eaten, with number 1 being Ted's Montana Grill, which is Ted Turner's restaurants. And I don't know if you've ever had their cod fillets. I tried that, and that shit has no business being as good as it is. And for a guy who misses Long John Silver's terribly, it's as close as you're going to get. But honest to God, a fast food restaurant selling codfish, that fish has no business being as good as it is at all. Irish, obviously, you do not have Culver's over there.
No, we don't.
Trust me, if you and your wife get to visit, back in the States and you're nearby one, do you like burgers?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, I am telling you that is, they do these butter burger things, son. Ooh, and I'm comparing this. It's my number 2 burger to a burger joint where you're paying a lot of money for a burger. You're not paying a lot of money for their burgers, and it's phenomenal. Boy, I love how these conversations just flip flop.
But the fast food places over here are pretty bad. They're like, we've got some great restaurants, but like, in terms of chains, they're all pretty shit.
Blame tag, you're an asshole. I almost spit my drink. He posted in the chat. My car's making a horrible sound. Followed by, did you try removing the Mariah Carey Christmas CD? Ooh.
Actually, on that topic,
yes.
This year, in any of the stores I've been in, they've toned down the Christmas music. So it's this kind of generic, jingly background shit. Like, there doesn't seem to be any copyrightable kind of music, playing in the big box stores that I've been in. And I mean, it's kind of almost haunting. It's in the background. It's a bit quieter than before, but it's still better than the loop of terrible, songs that they usually play.
Yeah, I've gotten to the point, we joke about it, and whatnot, but I've just learned to block it out. Yeah, now this is the one that gets everybody where I work. There's some Christina Aguilera Christmas song where she's just howling at the end of it. That seems to be the one that everybody hates. They hate that more than Mariah at this point. TM Lynn's homemade root beer and the walleye. Yes, they run a special here, like every so often. That's like a limited time only thing. I did have the walleye. The walleye was great, absolutely great. But Mel, the restaurant's called Culver's. If you ever get a chance to go to one, you will not be disappointed. I have never had a bad meal there ever. TM Lynn says we have a ton of classic rock on that list too. And I'm going to be honest with you. If you think about it, there hasn't been as much hype about Mariah this year as there has been in years past. I mean, yeah, she did her video where she basically copied the meme where she was, defrosting or whatnot. But it's not been like it has been in the past at all. She's being sued. Oh yeah, I did. She got sued for it last year. They're never going to win that. I mean, it's just going to continue. Mel says, at family Christmas party, my niece was shook that we had Christmas music going and there hadn't been one Mariah song. That's even better. You're doing the Lord's work, Mel. As far as Christmas tunes go, look, the only one I really like, to be honest with you, is I like the Billy Squier "Christmas Is a Time to Say I Love You." I think that's a great song from a great swanky rock perspective. And then on the other end of it, I've got a couple of things that I would listen to from time to time. The Brian Setzer Orchestra's Christmas stuff's really good, and there's a guitar player named Gary Hoey who did a Christmas instrumental, like kind of metal record called Ho-Ho-Hoey. And there's this awesome instrumental version of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. But that's about it for me, you know. The King's Father Christmas is also good social commentary. That's true. I did watch something before we came online about the waitresses and about the origin of Christmas wrapping. And that's a very interesting tale if you're familiar with the song. And that is actually another one that I'm okay with. It's not your typical Christmas song, which makes it kind of cool. And but finding out the story behind it today, it makes it even more interesting. So I would check that out if you're into any kind of musical history or how these things come about.
Do you have any opinion on Fairy Tale in New York by the Pogues?
Irish Ride Off. I couldn't tell you if I know that song. That's probably one of
Yeah.
those that I probably know if I heard it, but don't know the title.
You probably would. It's pretty. No. It's just Shane MacGowan wrote it. He just passed there 2 weeks ago. So
Yes, I did
it's
see
pretty.
that Shane MacGowan passed. He
Yeah, that was his big hit.
yeah, he there was this whole thing about, I guess, I don't know if his wife or whoever had posted a picture of him in the
Mm,
hospital, and there was a lot of
mm,
backlash about how they wish she wouldn't have posted that because he was in such bad shape.
mm,
I mean,
mm.
it was pretty bad. But I mean, I get it. And
Yeah, no, like he look, he was a troubled soul, but most of our greats are troubled souls, you know. But he was gifted, you know. He was a really, and we lost Sinead O'Connor this year as well. It's been a bad
that's
year for
correct.
Irish music.
Well,
Yeah.
Sinead, I mean, I think any of us that have followed her career and, with what she went through, really from the moment she ripped up the picture of the Pope,
Mm,
I don't think there's any of us that didn't see that coming at some point in time, especially when, her son had passed away.
yeah.
And it's just a shame because that was a very talented individual that got
Mm,
blackballed and obviously had some mental illness, and
yeah.
nobody took care of her. And who was it? I think it was Morrissey who really jumped to her defense after she died, talking about, you know what? Nobody cared about her, but now you want to give tributes?
Yeah.
And
Well, I think she was vindicated in the end. You know, she at the time that she ripped up the picture of the Pope, Jesus Christ, I mean, that caused controversy
oh
here.
yes.
Oh my God, was we were still steeped in the midst of, well, that's not against the religion thing, but it caused controversy here, and but she lived long enough to basically be vindicated. You know, she was correct.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
But there was no recovering from that. And
No, I mean, look, like that, she was troubles. You know.
she was troubled, and then she was unfortunately strapped to the fact that her hit was written by Prince, and there was no
Mm.
topping that. I'm sorry. I'm a metal guy. You cannot deny the performance of Nothing Compares to You by her. I mean,
She had got a set of lungs on her,
yeah,
man.
and
She
and
was
and,
fucking talented.
and the video was so minimalistic. I mean, and here was what you would consider the anti-female image at the time,
Mm.
and I mean, you can't escape that. You can't top that, and that's a hard thing. If you wind up in the music industry and you peak at the very beginning, there's nowhere else to go but down. And when you go down in that industry, it's worse than retail. Everything, if you're not making anybody money, man, they just drop you, and they don't care, you know. And that's something that, you know, I really, sometime hopefully next year, I'd like to get a hold of a musician and talk about the mental health aspect of being in the industry, because it is a one and done thing. It is, you know, you could be a star today, but the moment you start losing company money, they don't care what happens to you. You know, they consider your liability. I mean, there was a whole, you know, conspiracy there for a while when you look at like different people. Like, for instance, Amy Winehouse, all right, extremely
Mhm.
talented individual. She was having some issues. She canceled a major tour that was in the news because of the insurance companies that were involved and whatnot. And the industry, you know, her handlers knew she had issues. They didn't have anybody around her to stop her from doing what she was doing. And when she lost them all that money by canceling, guess what? They made sure there was nobody around her. And to me, that is complicit.
Well, yeah, especially when controversy sells as well. Like it's free press. You know, if someone is going through a mental breakdown, like um, they it makes from a kind of psychopathic corporate point of view, it makes sense to let it play out in the media rather than get them help and intervene, because it sells more stuff. I mean, if you look, I mean, I might be getting slightly sidetracked here, but an iconic one that everyone remembers is fucking Britney Spears, who, by the way, I'm not a fan of, but like she had a very public meltdown. At
Yes,
well,
she
what
did.
age? She was in her 20s, I think.
Yep.
It's like, and but like the, that kind of went viral. I forget when that was. It was like the mid 2000s or something
Yeah.
like that. But like,
But look
like
at her now.
people were laughing at that shit. It's like
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And,
And no,
and
in fairness, I think we've moved a long way from that, even
well,
10 years
no,
later.
no, because
No.
she's wrecked. She is wrecked.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I look, not a fan, but I'm a fan of music, and I followed a lot of things in the industry. Look, man, um, that's going to be another one. One day we're going to wake up to a headline, and it shouldn't shock anybody. And it's because of what the industry does to people. And you know, I would caution people. You know, look at the female musicians who have come through the Disney pipeline. Okay, you got Britney, Christina Aguilera, Demi Lovato. Now, Demi Lovato is lucky she's alive. Now, you will talk about somebody who spun out. Demi Lovato. But there's a common denominator here. It's how they're packaged. It's like a meat grinder. It's like, okay, they're pretty, they're hot, they don't really have to sing. We can auto tune them. We're selling an image, we're selling a package. But once they no longer make us money, or once they've fallen off the cliff, or once there's the next new big thing, we drop them. And we don't care what happens to them. We're not taking care of them anymore. It's not our problem. The industry creates that shit. And it is just heartbreaking, because there are very talented individuals. I mean, really and truly, Sinead O'Connor is like, should be the poster person for how bad the industry is to somebody who is extremely talented, went through some controversy, and then you just dropped her. You didn't try to help her. You didn't put the money in to try to help rebuild the image. No, you just let her go, man. And that's one of the greatest songs of all time. Nothing compares to you. And
Yeah.
like
It's a
TM
belter.
Lynn said, he's a Prince guy, and her version was so much better. Yeah, I mean, and you look at like, it's just a shame to me, and that's why I look at all the bands I grew up listening to. And there was a time where you could be in a band and you go play in a club, and a record producer's there and they like what you do, and you quote unquote get discovered, and you make your own way. We're at a point in time. My favorite band of all time has always been Kiss. They've been a shell of themselves for a while, but they just wrapped it all up. It's over, okay? You got Kiss, you got Aerosmith, you had Zeppelin, you got the Rolling Stones, who are still going, but they're not going forever. These legacy bands the industries are waiting for them to go away, like even you too, because
Mhm.
those bands still have a command and power over their careers. When all these famous bands go away and they finally die, it's just a machine at that point. And I'm telling you right now, if you're a father and you have a daughter who wants to pursue a career in music, I, don't stifle their creativity. But man, I would not. I'd be very careful to let them wind up going through that meat grinder because it's going to ruin them as people. Amanda Bynes, look at that. You know, the amount of mental illness that's come about, for how these people are treated and whatnot, and the mental abuse. Being told one day that you're on top of the world and you're the best thing ever, and then the next day being told you suck, we don't need you, we're going to drop you like a bad habit. I mean, that's not good for kids, man. And a lot of these girls, I mean, you look at Britney. I mean, when all that stuff was going on, she was young, man. She basically was still a kid. So, I mean,
Yeah.
damn. Blame taxes. I heard Kiss sold their likenesses to Facebook. No. I don't really want to get into that, but Kiss has decided that they can be immortal now by becoming digital. We'll see how that works out, but it's going to be. Let's see. Blame Tag says, Hybrid, I've heard that it's common for people to stop developing maturity at the age they get famous. That's probably true. And TM Lynn says, hypersexualized at a young age, too. Yeah, and that's huge. Huge. And then Erica says, what happened to Britney Spears is eerily similar to the demise of Dennis Wilson. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. TM Lynn says, I thought Kiss were already immortal because of the Blood comic. My fandom runs deep. That wasn't 100% fact, but okay. What do you have to add on this, Irish? I mean, we've kind of taken a turn, and this is the last episode of the year. It doesn't really matter, but from the entertainment standpoint, like in Ireland, let's just talk about like your big famous people. Whether it be musicians, athletes. I hear Connor, wants to become the president over there. Is that true?
Oh, well, let me just clarify that, right? Conor McGregor is one of the greatest phallic exports we have ever gotten rid of
Oh,
off this fucking sod. Okay, that guy represents nothing positive about our stereotype. Look, um, he's no, he's what we would call in Ireland just a scumbag, right? So now listen, I'm not dumb enough to say that to his fucking face, like, but
no, cause he'd whip
he's
our
just
ass.
yeah. But look, no, look, he's boisterous. He got a lot of money, relatively young, and I think he was probably a very clever operator and savvy before uh his demise. When he's like your body does not do well after 25 in a sport like that. So
Right.
and I think it just all went to his head, and the ego was just too big. And just look at the state of him now. So just clarify that Conor McGregor does not represent Ireland at all. He's not popular here.
Oh, well, let me
Um,
let me ask you real quick
mm,
on the topic of Connor. All right, so you're right. Your body has kind of an expiration date when you're really doing like for real combat sports.
yeah, that's
What
insane.
what percentage? If you could put a percentage on it, um, what percentage would you give it to him to wind up in the WWE as a wrestler?
I don't know. His ego is definitely big now. He will follow the money if he doesn't run out of money. So like if he gets his ego stroked and a big paycheck, he will go anywhere. In my opinion. Now, obviously, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of his, so I don't know him that well. But that would be my instinct. So percentage wise, I don't know. I don't know enough about the WWE and how much they need a personality like him. But he's legitimately volatile though. That's not a character. That guy's fucking insane. Like he punched a fucking pensioner because the pensioner refused to drink his whiskey in a bar here. Like, and that's not a rumor. That's online. CCTV footage is available. Like the guy's volatile.
And
Um,
speaking of Irish, celebrities. So, are you aware of Becky Lynch?
Ooh, no,
Female
I may get
female
embarrassed here. Maybe I should be.
female wrestler in WWE who is
All right,
Irish.
right.
And that tells me all I need to know. You don't even have to answer that question.
Okay.
Um, so she calls herself the Man. She's spunky to watch. She's from Ireland, but if you don't know who the fuck she is, obviously she's only big within that universe. And real quick,
Yeah.
Erica asked, "Hey Irish, I've been dying to ask this for a long time. What's your favorite U2 album?"
um, Joshua Tree.
Really?
That might be.
I think
I
my
don't know.
what was War
What's yours?
the
Oh,
one with Sunday Bloody Sunday on it?
do you know what? I don't know.
I My favorite
I'd
is
have
the
to
one that
Google
had
that.
Sunday Bloody Sunday. And honest to God, I'm not a huge U2 fan, but my favorite U2 song
Same.
is New Year's Day.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like you two are kind of an inoffensive kind of popular band. Like I mean, you could listen to them without they don't get too uh poetic, I suppose. But but Bono though, he's obnoxious. Jesus, he's a fucking pain in the ass. Like he's not particularly popular here. The Bono the man. People like you too, okay, but Bono the individual is just a bit too smug. Look, the Irish don't do. We don't like people who let their ego go to their head very very much. Like, but
Well,
no,
that's interesting to know though, because I mean, obviously, worldwide, Bono has been involved in so many different things, right? He's kind of dipped his toe into political issues across the world and whatnot, and I find that interesting. He's not that popular in his home country.
no, I think honestly, a lot of it comes across as very patronizing and insincere because we have some, like, do you know, like we have some very, heavyweights in like international politics in the background that nobody knows about because they do a lot of work like behind the scenes. But Bono likes to be front and center in like fucking Live Aid and Feed the Fucking World is probably one of the worst songs to ever fucking venture out of the bloody planet. It's just how much of it is advertising and how much of it's genuine. I don't know. It's just he's not the most popular guy in the world here. Like, I don't think he's hated. Like, a lot of people do hate McGregor now, but not so much Bono. Just think
Um,
he's kind of annoying.
Hybrid would like to interject that flogging Molly is better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest U2 fan, so I'll take that.
So musically, you know, so what's your biggest export other than U2? Like, bands that you have there that maybe you grew up listening to or whatnot. I mean, what's something you could point some of us music heads to that maybe we haven't experienced before that is worth checking out?
Well, it's so subjective. It really does depend on what you're into. Like if you're into more soul music, the Commitments, look them up.
Okay, I
Very
know who
good.
the Commitments are.
Yeah. So if you like, that kind of that's one. If you like more kind of country music, and I don't mean deep South country music now, I mean kind of more just traditional. Like uh, Christy Moore would be our biggest export
Now,
internationally.
would that be more like folk to us versus country?
Yeah, yeah, it would be more folk than country. Like it wouldn't, yeah, it doesn't have the same kind of rhythm and tune to it. But when I say country, I mean, written from the heart, ballads of the people type of stuff. Like Christy Moore is a good representative of the one of his most famous songs is "The Ordinary Man." Like it's a good tune if you're into that. If you're not, you won't like it. The Pogues are probably one of the most interesting ones because they blend traditional Irish music with kind of punk rock. And they were pretty good back in the day. I'm sure there's really big ones now. I don't know because I don't listen. I haven't listened to the modern shit in years
What about Thin
on
Lizzy?
on the radio. Oh yeah, yeah, um, yeah, yeah. Like he was a pretty good like what you call it. He would have been famous export. Let's see. I'm
Erica
trying to
brought
think.
them up,
There's
and I'd forgot about them. Thin Lizzy kicked ass.
yeah, he did another one that died too young.
Their version of Whiskey in the Jar kicks ass.
It does actually. That is a good tune. Now that I think of it, that is a damn good tune. Um, and Metallica did a cover of that, didn't they?
Yeah, and that was pretty good too. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Blame
but
Texas. What about the Proclaimers?
yeah, I mean they're pretty good. I look, they're I class them as wedding music. You know, they get people up on the dance floor and it's good. You know, but I prefer things with a bit more meaning and soul behind them myself personally. But like it is very subjective. I'm not going to be offended no matter what people like. You know. Um,
Erica wanted to just say
but
that she loves the Pogues.
yeah, I mean, they are a damn good one. Like, and they're like there's some meaningful lyrics in a lot of the stuff in the Pogues. You know, there's also some just good, damn good tunes there as well. Um,
What did you grow up listening
but
to?
pretty much what we just covered actually. You know, because it was like in the 80s, 90s. Like it was kind of like U2 would have been in there, like Sinead O'Connor. I was a big fan of Queen. Obviously, they're not Irish, but
Well,
like
yeah,
God damn, that guy had a set of lungs. God, they're all dead. Jesus Christ,
it
this is
sucks, doesn't it?
depressing. Fucking hell, I'm trying to think. Okay, but like Bono's about the only one that's still alive. The U2 are still going strong, but
Yeah.
yeah, the rest of them are all dead. But yeah, it's I don't know. Like it was a kind of a rich tapestry in some ways, and of course, I mean, given the fact that it was the 80s, there's a lot of crap mixed in there too. Like um, but you tend to forget those over time.
Did
Um,
all right, so when you talk 80s, are we talking like, say, for instance, 85 to like 91 maybe? Was the hair
hmm.
metal thing huge over there, or was it just kind of like, eh?
um, do you know what? I was probably too young at the time to really take any much notice, but I don't remember it being all that big.
Oh, and God, I can't believe any of us didn't bring this up yet. Blame Texas Cranberries.
Oh Christ, yeah. And then, again, she's dead. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ, Dolores
Dolores
O'Riordan.
O'Riordan. I mean, she
Yeah,
was
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, she was a like a serious talent. And again, actually, I put them pretty high up the list. Like I can't remember. I can't believe it. But like there's some seriously good tunes and good lyrics, and meaningful stuff behind that. It's not like that chewing gum music that doesn't mean anything. Um,
Hero asked, is Enya Irish?
Do you know what? I don't want to confirm or deny that because I don't know off the top of my head. I'm not a big fan, but um, let me just Google that.
uh,
Yes.
oh, she is. Okay. So Blame Tag says Mrs. Blame Tag brought up Cranberries to give credit. One of her faves. Yes. And
Yeah.
I can't believe we're talking about this, and none of us hit on Dolores. I mean,
Yeah.
she was fantastic, man. And
Oh
and
yeah. Herself and Sinead O'Connor like are just the vocals. You can't hit those notes,
I
man.
mean,
Jesus.
when Zombie hit,
Yeah.
because you got to think the departure from, because their first big hit in the states was Linger.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
and then Zombie came out, and one of my favorite musical memories of my own is sitting in a studio with a gal that I worked with, who's extremely talented. Her name's Priska. Her and I sitting, on a piano bench, and me playing guitar, her playing piano, and her singing Zombie, and it was just
Mm.
amazing. I mean, because, and it's not, it was amazing because she was a great vocal talent, but it's also amazing because the song was just so good anyway.
Yeah. And again, like if you said you're into your musical history, if you read into the lyrics of that, like it's powerful stuff in that. Like
Yeah.
it's not just. I mean, it's actually kind of funny because there's a blip every Halloween for that song because people are downloading fucking songs and they pick Zombie because Halloween they don't realize what they're listening. So there's always a little blip around Halloween in for that song on like iTunes and shit like
Oh
that.
wow. Okay. Yeah, because of the
Yeah, it's
zombie
just a
thing,
little
that they have
bug,
no idea of the context.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can kind of forgive people that aren't familiar with the song for downloading what they think is a Halloween tune called Zombie.
Wow. TM Lynn says it's on the Halloween music in his store. And then Runs with Razors. Erica says Father Ted is her favorite Irish TV show.
Really, that's a bit like Father Ted is a iconic cultural thing, but it's it's hit and miss with people that aren't familiar with Ireland because there's a lot of references that you won't understand if you didn't grow up in Catholic Ireland. You know, it's a fantastic show. It's a really really good show.
Blame takes us Chumbawamba.
They're English as far as I know.
I
Um,
I just have I have to add this. She's gonna get mad at me. Maybe not. When Hero was younger and she heard the Chumbawamba song, she said she thought the lyrics were, "She got knocked down by an orangutan."
well, they have not quite as a catchy tune, but I think they have one about I don't know, it's a flight number something something for the it's just a funny tune. If you look it up, yeah, Chumbawamba flight number and whatever it is, it'll autofill the rest of it. It's just basically a list of people you want to go on a doomed flight.
Oh God!
Um,
All right.
yeah, yeah, look, there's a bit more humor in it than I I have made out there. It's not quite as depressing as that, but yeah,
Okay.
it's a good one.
So we're at an hour and 2 minutes, but I want to ask this before we get off. All right. Can you please explain to me why the hell y'all sent us the what was that stuff called? Um, the Irish dancing. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
Riverdance.
Riverdance. Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
buddy. Thanks so much for that.
Well, that was it was the Michael Flatley was the lead. He was American. So I forget what part of the states he came from, but he actually the lead dancer and that was an American guy called Michael Flatley. Yeah, that was a massive. It was in the you guys probably won't understand what the Eurovision is, but it's
I
just
know.
this
I
really
do know what
cheesy
Eurovision
fucking
is.
yeah. It's
You there? Uh-oh. Irish got cut off. He got excited about Eurovision. But anyway, so having said that, his time ran out. So everybody, thank you so much for being here. This has been an interesting evening, and it wasn't meant to be topical whatsoever. This has been fun, and I like doing these, and I really do enjoy when we go down the music thing. Like I said, I've toyed with the idea of doing a music podcast. You know, Erica,
yeah.
maybe you could join in on that. Irish, are you there? Are you there, Irish? Hello. Hold on a second. Let's see.
So I'm coming in and out of here. Skype keeps dropping on me.
Oh, are you back? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Skype just dropped on me there. I don't know what's
We
wrong.
were like,
Sorry.
oh God, he got so excited about this, and he gone.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's some sort of intervention there. I
It
don't
might
know.
have been, but I was just telling everybody, it's great to have these kind of conversations that are kind of free and not too
Yeah, yeah.
serious. I enjoyed the music conversation, obviously, because I'm a musician and I like music history. Um, you know, I was saying while you weren't on, I've toyed with a music podcast. I think Erica would be a great, partner in that. To be honest with you, I
Mm,
think we have a good time with that. And we're talking about Eurovision. I do know what Eurovision is.
yeah.
For me musically, I like a lot. A lot of my favorite bands aren't even from the United States. I like bands like
Yeah.
Within Temptation and Him and Villavallo and Nightwish and all these bands that come from overseas that are so huge everywhere else in the world but the United States. So, but these conversations are fun. And but before we go, since you are back to us, you have any last words for our last stream of 2023?
Um, I really I quite like the episodes like this. They kind of remind me of chats you'd have in the break room, where you start off talking about something and next thing you know you're talking about dead musicians for half an episode. Um I think that's a healthy balance to have because if we're serious all the time, we're just not going to get anyone tuning in because we can talk about some heavy stuff. So I would like to reach out and ask anyone in the chat or anyone else listening to just give us some suggestions. What do you want to hear? What do you like? It's difficult to gauge, um, how others feel about these things. Maybe this is the best thing that they like about it. Maybe they want more informative stuff or serious discussion. I don't know. So going into 2024, you know, I'd ask people to reach out. Come on, I don't have to be the sidekick the whole time.
That's true.
Um,
But at the
it's a
same time,
community.
I have to tell you, going into the new year, Irish, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate, from the day you sent me that original email, you have been a huge light in this dark tunnel. Your input is extremely important. We love you. We all do. I cannot express to you enough how thankful I am to have come across you. You're an extremely important asset. You're an extremely amazing human being. And every bit of input you have matters a lot. And, to Irish's point, yeah, I mean, the retail war zone is, there's a reason why there's the retail war zone and then the retail therapy sessions. When we get back into the new year, the retail war zone, it's going to be, episodic. It's going to be, topic driven. But if you would like us to branch out under the umbrella, same YouTube channel, do you guys want to have a music thing? We can do that. You know, it's all it is a separate space, on the YouTube menu, and we can keep it all under the same page and don't have to do a bunch of different branding. But the suggestions you have, would be great. And, if you want to do a music thing, cool. I want to do a music thing. Like I said, I think Erica would be fantastic to bounce that off of. Adria would be as well. We don't have to have a constant person here. We could have, members of the Warzone community coming in and just talking about your favorite music and things like that. And it's great. And, the sky's the limit. I
Well,
mean, God, we're coming up on how many? We're coming up on 4 years, Irish. Is that right?
it's either 3 or 4. I forget.
Yeah.
How old is the pandemic?
I started in 2021,
Yeah,
so
3 years.
3 years.
Well, a running theme that keeps coming back around, and this happens organically. We just keep it's not planned. Is the mental health thing? So pretty much every topic that we discuss eventually comes back. So if we're talking about minimum wage, if we're talking about work-life balance, we're talking about all these different things. So I think a natural segue to that is something like the therapy sessions or misfits, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
Because it's just like a break room. You're hanging around talking to your friends and you're just like letting off some steam. So, and I think that at the end of it, like that's what this is just it's recreational, but it can be cathartic for people that probably haven't really joined the chat or anything like that. That they might find it a year from now, or maybe they're listening, to it live. You know, they're not. They might be suffering in a retail job that and they can hear other people talking about that actually kind of know what they're talking about. Like there's a lot of people in the chat here. If you add it all up, we could probably have, I don't know, 200 years worth of
right.
experience.
Yep.
So it'll provide that kind of platform for someone to feel like that's initially what attracted me to it as well. It's going, oh Jesus, I'm not crazy. There's other crazy people just like me,
Right.
Um, and it just I don't know you can fit in really well there. So look, in 2024, I think in general, like I said, it's hard for me to gauge. I think the ones where there's a general topic and we go back and forth seem to have the most engagement. I like those.
Correct.
And then whatever the community wants. I don't want to be directing anything. It's community driven, as you have always said, Steve.
Yep. And having said that, guys, look, a lot of this will wind up being a time capsule at some point. Like I said, we don't have thousands and thousands of subscribers or whatnot, but it's going to be out there in perpetuity. Eventually somebody's going to come across something we do that's going to help them, and that's okay. But we need outlets. Maybe we branch out next year and, we have the retail war zone, which is topical. We have basically, like Irish said, the water cooler talk, which is the therapy sessions. Maybe we have a music thing. Maybe we have a sports thing. Maybe we have a video game thing. I don't know. You guys tell us. What the fuck do you want? I ain't got nothing better to do in my time. Let's go. So, real quick, before I get off here, I want to give a shout out to all of our partners. Okay? Your hero, Mrs. Blame Tag, whoever else you have in your lives. Those people keep us going, and those people keep us above ground. And we need to appreciate them as much as we can, because there's several of us, if they weren't with us, we wouldn't make it. So shout out to the partners that keep the machine moving. We love you all. Having said that, everybody have a great evening. We'll see you in January. LinkedIn, we're coming for your ass. Let's see what we can do next year. Peace out. Take care. Have a great Christmas. Have a good New Year. See you then.